The uninvited guests, the desert stretched endlessly in all directions, a sea of sand and rock beneath the blazing sun. In the middle of this barren landscape sat a single structure, a diplomatic facility built specifically for this moment. Earth's first official contact with an advanced alien civilization. Inside the climate-controlled building, Ambassador Cheng Wei adjusted his collar and watched the sky through the reinforced windows. He was a calm man, someone who had spent 40 years navigating the complexities of human politics. Today, those skills would be tested in ways no human had ever experienced before. Beside him stood General Marcus Reeves, a military officer whose presence was officially listed as security detail. In reality, Reeves was there to assess any potential threat. His eyes constantly moved, calculating distances, noting exits, evaluating everything. The man never stopped thinking tactically, even in moments that were supposed to be peaceful. Dr. Lisa Park completed their small delegation. She was Earth's leading xenobiologist, someone who had spent her entire career preparing for this exact situation. She held a tablet displaying atmospheric readings and biological data, her scientific mind already working to understand the visitors before they even arrived. The sky began to change. A shadow fell across the desert, growing larger with each passing second. The Valthene ships descended through the atmosphere with casual grace, their technology making the journey look effortless. 3 vessels in a triangular formation, each one roughly the size of a commercial aircraft. Their hulls were smooth and dark, reflecting the sunlight in strange patterns that hurt to look at directly. The ships landed 200 meters from the facility, sending up clouds of dust that took several minutes to settle. A ramp extended from the central vessel. The first alien to emerge was tall, nearly 3 meters in height. His body was covered in overlapping plates that looked like dark metal, but moved like skin. 4 arms hung at his sides, each one ending in 3-fingered hands. His head was elongated, with large eyes that glowed faintly amber. This was Envoy Commander Zelthrus, leader of the Valthene diplomatic mission. Behind him came 6 more of his species, all similarly imposing, all moving with the confidence of beings who had never known defeat. Ambassador Chun walked out to meet them, flanked by General Reeves and Dr. Park. The heat hit them immediately, the desert sun showing no mercy. Chun stopped at the designated meeting point, a simple marker on the ground equidistant between the facility and the Valthene ships. He raised one hand in greeting, a gesture that was supposedly universal. Zelthrus approached and stopped precisely 3 meters away. His translator device activated, producing perfect English with only a slight mechanical undertone. We are the Valthene Collective, representatives of a civilization that has existed for 12,000 years. We have crossed the void between stars to bring you an offer of great importance. Ambassador Chun bowed slightly, showing respect without submission. We are honored by your presence. Earth welcomes you and hopes this meeting will be the beginning of a long and beneficial relationship between our peoples. Zelthrus made a sound that might have been amusement. His translator rendered it as a dry laugh. Beneficial, yes. That is precisely what we offer. We have observed your world for the past 15 years, studying your people, your cultures, your technologies. Dr. Park's grip tightened on her tablet. 15 years of surveillance without permission, without contact, without any indication they were watching. The implications were disturbing, but Chun's expression never changed. He simply nodded, encouraging Zelthrus to continue. What we have seen concerns us, the alien continued. Humanity is a species of great potential, but also great chaos. You fight amongst yourselves constantly. Your world is divided into hundreds of competing factions. You build weapons of terrible power and use them against your own kind. This is the behavior of a dangerous species, one that cannot be trusted to govern itself. General Reeves felt his jaw tighten, but he remained silent. His role was to observe, not to speak. Chun maintained his diplomatic composure, though he could feel the insult behind the words. The Valfine had not come to offer partnership. They had come to offer subjugation, dressed in diplomatic language. "And what do you propose, Commander Zelthus?" Chun asked, his tone carefully neutral. "We propose that Earth accept the protection and guidance of the Valfine Collective," Zelthus replied. "You will become a protectorate under our authority. We will station observers in your major population centers. Your military forces will be reduced to levels appropriate for internal security only. Your space exploration programs will be suspended until we determine you are ready to join the wider galactic community." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Everything humanity had worked toward, every dream of reaching the stars, would be stripped away. They would become prisoners on their own world, children being managed by aliens who viewed them as dangerous and incompetent. In return, Zelthus continued, "We offer protection from other species who might view humanity as a threat to be eliminated rather than managed. We offer access to certain technologies that will improve your quality of life. We offer a path forward, though it is a path you will walk under our supervision." Ambassador Chun was quiet for a long moment. Behind him, the diplomatic facility stood silent, but he knew people were watching from inside. Earth's leaders were observing through secure channels, waiting to see how their representative would respond to this ultimatum. Chun had been given clear instructions. Listen, evaluate, and buy time. Above all, do not provoke them until Earth was ready. "Commander Zelthus," Chun said carefully, "this is a significant proposal, one that requires considerable discussion among Earth's governments. We are not a unified world in the way you described yourselves. We have many nations, many voices, all of which must be heard." Zelthus's eyes dimmed slightly, a sign of displeasure. "We are aware of your fractured political structure. It is one of the primary reasons we must intervene. A species so divided cannot make rational decisions about its own future. However, we are not unreasonable. We will grant you 48 hours to reach consensus. At the end of that time, we expect Earth's formal acceptance of our protection." The threat was clear, even though the words were polite. "Accept or face consequences." Chun nodded slowly, giving no indication of Earth's actual response. "We appreciate your patience. May I ask what happens if Earth's governments do not reach the consensus you hope for?" Zelthus spread his 4 arms in a gesture that was probably meant to seem generous. "Then we will be forced to implement protection measures without your cooperation. This would be unfortunate, as it would require significantly more Valfine presence in your system, and significantly less autonomy for your people. It is in everyone's best interest that you accept willingly." The meeting concluded with formal pleasantries that meant nothing. The Valfine returned to their ships, confident in their superiority. Ambassador Chun and his small team walked back to the facility in silence. Once inside, safe from observation, General Reeves spoke first. His voice was tight with controlled anger. "They're not offering protection. They're offering slavery with better words." Chun nodded, pouring himself water from a nearby dispenser. "Essentially, yes. They've decided we're too dangerous to be free and too useful to destroy. So they'll cage us instead." Dr. Park was reviewing the biological scans her equipment had taken during the meeting. "They're physically impressive, but not invulnerable. Standard biology, just scaled larger. Their technology is advanced, certainly beyond ours in some areas, but not impossibly." So Chun sat down, feeling the weight of the moment. For thousands of years, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. They had dreamed of meeting aliens, of joining a galactic community, of learning and growing among the stars. Now the answer had arrived, and it was worse than loneliness. The galaxy was full of life, but that life looked at humanity and saw only a problem to be controlled. Chun activated his secure communication device. The link established instantly, connecting him to Earth's Emergency Defense Council. They would be waiting for his report, waiting to hear how the first contact had gone. Asterisk, this is Ambassador Chun. First contact has concluded. The Valfine Collective has presented terms. They are demanding Earth accept status as a protectorate under their authority. They've given us 48 hours to comply. On the other end of the line, there was a moment of silence. Then a woman's voice, calm and measured. This is Director Walsh. Understood, Ambassador. Return to the facility's secure room. We have information to share with you. Information that changes everything. Chun exchanged glances with Reeves and Park. They all felt it, the sense that something significant was about to happen. Asterisk. The three of them moved to the facility's most secure location, a room deep underground surrounded by layers of shielding. Inside, a holographic display activated, showing them a live feed from lunar orbit. What they saw made Chun's breath catch in his throat. Hanging in the darkness of space, previously hidden behind the moon, was a ship unlike anything the public knew existed. It was massive, easily 10 times the size of the largest Valfine vessel. Its hull was dark gray, covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and flow. Weapon systems lined every surface, and its engines glowed with barely contained power. Director Walsh's voice came through the speakers. Ambassador Chun, meet the Sentinel. Humanity's answer to a universe that doesn't want us as equals. The Valfine think we're helpless children who need their protection. They're about to learn that Earth has never been defenseless. We've simply been patient, waiting to see who would come knocking and what they would want from us. Now we know, and now they're going to learn what happens when you threaten humanity's freedom. The 48-hour countdown had begun, but the Valfine had no idea that Earth's response was already prepared. High above, in the cold silence of space, the Sentinel waited for its orders, the response they never expected. The Valfine ships sat in the desert like sleeping predators, their crews confident and relaxed. Inside the central vessel, Envoy Commander Zelthrus reviewed the data his team had collected on humanity. Every scan confirmed what they already knew. Earth possessed nuclear weapons, primitive spacecraft, and communication systems that were laughably simple by galactic standards. The humans had barely mastered their own solar system, let alone developed the technology to threaten an advanced species like the Valfine. Zelthrus felt satisfaction as he prepared his report for the collective's high command. Another primitive species brought under protection without conflict. Another potential threat neutralized before it could spread chaos across the galaxy. His second officer, Krength, approached with a data tablet. Commander, we have completed full scans of Earth's military installations. Their most powerful weapons are fusion-based explosives, crude but effective against their own kind. However, they pose no threat to our shielding. Their space vessels are limited to chemical propulsion and basic ion drives. They have nothing capable of engaging us in combat. Zelthrus nodded, his forearms folding in a gesture of contentment. As expected, the humans will accept our terms. They have no choice. Their leaders are not fools. They understand that resistance would mean destruction, but something nagged at Zelthrus, a detail that did not fit the pattern. The human ambassador had shown no fear during their meeting. Chun Wei had listened to the ultimatum with calm acceptance, almost as if he had expected it. There had been no panic, no desperate pleading, no attempt to negotiate for better terms. Just quiet acknowledgement and a request for time. Zelthrus had dealt with dozens of species during first contact situations. He knew the signs of a defeated people, and somehow the humans had not shown them. He pushed the thought aside. Perhaps humans were simply better at hiding their emotions. It did not matter. The outcome was inevitable. High above Earth, far beyond the Valthene's scanning range, the Sentinel hung in the darkness behind the moon. The ship was a marvel of human engineering, built over 15 years in absolute secrecy. When the Valthene probes had first been detected entering Earth's solar system, humanity's governments had made a choice. They would not broadcast their presence aggressively, but they would also not remain defenseless. Resources from every major nation had poured into the lunar construction facilities. The best scientists, engineers, and military strategists had worked around the clock to build something that could stand against unknown threats from the stars. Captain Sarah Morrison stood on the Sentinel's bridge, watching the holographic displays that showed Earth below and the Valthene ships on its surface. She was 52 years old, a career military officer who had trained for space combat scenarios that most people thought were pure fantasy. Her crew of 800 had practiced for this moment in countless simulations. They had studied every piece of data about the Valthene, analyzed their ships, calculated their capabilities. Now all that preparation would be tested. Sarah's executive officer, Commander James O'Coy, stood beside her reviewing tactical data. The Valthene vessels are maintaining standard orbit around their landing site. No signs they've detected us. Their scanning technology is impressive, but focused on Earth's surface and near orbital space. They're not looking for threats from the outer system. Sarah allowed herself a slight smile. That was humanity's advantage. The Valthene expected primitive opposition, so they were not watching for sophisticated threats. Their arrogance created a blind spot, and the Sentinel sat directly in that blind spot, waiting. She activated her communication system, connecting to the secure channel that linked her to Earth's Defense Council. This is Captain Morrison. The Sentinel is ready. All systems operational. Weapons charged. Crew prepared. Awaiting authorization to proceed. Director Walsh's voice came through immediately. Authorization granted, Captain. It's time to show the Valthene who they're really dealing with. Proceed with Operation Daybreak. Sarah felt her heart rate increase slightly, the only sign of the tension she felt. She turned to her helm officer. Lieutenant Shun, take us out from behind lunar cover. Standard approach vector. Let's make sure they can't miss us. The Sentinel's engines ignited, pushing the massive warship out from its hiding place. The ship moved with surprising grace for something so large, its advanced propulsion systems allowing maneuvers that defied its size. As it cleared the moon's shadow, every sensor in near-Earth space suddenly locked onto it. Satellites, space stations, communication arrays, all of them registered the massive energy signature appearing seemingly from nowhere. On the Valthene command ship, alarms began screaming. Krenth rushed to his station, his eyes widening as data flooded his displays. Commander, we have a contact. Large vessel emerging from behind Earth's moon. Very large vessel. Energy signature is enormous. It's bigger than anything in our database for this species. Zelthrus moved to the tactical station, his confidence beginning to crack. Show me. The holographic display activated, rendering the Sentinel in 3 dimensions. The scale markers appeared, and Zelthrus felt something he had not experienced in decades. Fear. The human ship was 12 kilometers long, bristling with weapon systems that his scanners were struggling to classify. Its power output matched that of a Valthene battlecruiser, but its design was completely unknown. How is this possible? Zelthrus demanded. Our intelligence showed nothing like this. We monitored their construction facilities, their shipyards, their research installations. Where did this come from? Krenth worked frantically at his console. It appears they built it behind their moon, Commander. In the area, we designated as low priority for scanning because it showed no activity. They must have shielded the entire construction process. The facility itself was probably underground. Zelthrus felt his world shifting. Everything they knew about humanity was wrong. These were not primitive beings stumbling toward the stars. These were strategists who had deliberately hidden their true capabilities, who had built a warship in secret while appearing helpless. The implications were staggering. Transmit a message to the human ship, Zelthrus ordered, trying to maintain control. Demand identification and explanation for this deception. Before Krenth could comply, a transmission came through from the Sentinel. The voice was human, female, and absolutely calm. Valphine vessels, this is Captain Sarah Morrison of the Earth Defense Force warship Sentinel. You are in Earth's sovereign space without permission. Your presence here is considered a potential hostile act. You have two options. Depart immediately and peacefully, or remain and face the consequences of your threat to Earth's independence. Zelthrus activated his own communication system, his voice sharp with barely controlled anger. Captain Morrison, your government is negotiating with us in good faith. This display of military force is inappropriate and counterproductive. We came in peace to offer protection. Good faith? Sarah's voice carried a hint of amusement. Commander Zelthrus, you gave us an ultimatum. Accept subjugation or face invasion. That is not negotiation. That is threat. And Earth does not respond well to threats. We have been watching you just as you have been watching us. We know about the Valphine Collective's expansion methods. We know about the 14 species you have absorbed as protectorates over the past 3,000 years. We know what happens to those who refuse your protection. They disappear from galactic records. The accuracy of her information shocked Zelthrus. Human intelligence networks had penetrated deeper than anyone suspected. Somehow, Earth had gathered classified information about Valphine operations, information that was supposed to be secured behind encryption that no primitive species could break. Your threats mean nothing, Zelthrus said, though his voice lacked conviction. We have fleets. 3 ships against 1 is suicide for you. We can call reinforcements that will overwhelm any defense you mount. Sarah's response was immediate. Feel free to call them, Commander. Let's discuss numbers while we wait. Your 3 ships carry approximately 400 personnel total. The Sentinel has 800 crew members, each one trained specifically for ship-to-ship combat. Your vessels are armed with plasma cannons and kinetic missiles. We have railguns that fire projectiles at 0.03%, the speed of light, pulse lasers that can slice through your shielding, and electromagnetic weapons that will disable your systems before you can target us. CELTHR is checked his tactical displays. His officers were running combat simulations, and the results were devastating. In every scenario, the Sentinel destroyed all 3 Valphine ships before they could mount an effective defense. The human vessel was not just larger. It was more advanced, more heavily armed, and positioned with perfect tactical advantage. But there was more to Sarah's message, a confidence that suggested she had additional assets they had not yet seen. And Commander, Sarah continued, the Sentinel is not alone. Earth has built 4 more ships of this class. They are currently positioned throughout our solar system, monitoring your communication with your fleet. If you call for reinforcements, they will know you're coming long before you arrive. We have sensor networks you never detected. We have defensive platforms hidden in asteroid fields. We have turned our entire solar system into a fortress, and you walked right into it, thinking we were helpless. The revelation was complete. Humanity was not a primitive species requiring guidance. They were a sophisticated civilization that had deliberately appeared weak while building overwhelming strength in secret. They had studied the Valphine, learned from them, and prepared specifically to counter their methods. Zelthrus realized with bitter clarity that Earth had been testing them, allowing the Valphine to reveal their intentions before showing their true capabilities. On Earth's surface, Ambassador Chon Wei watched the confrontation unfold on holographic displays in the secure facility. General Reeves stood beside him, satisfaction clear on his face. "They never saw it coming," Reeves said. "They thought we were children playing with toys. Now they know better." Dr. Park was monitoring the Valthene biological responses through remote sensors. "Their stress levels are spiking. Heart rate equivalents increasing. They're experiencing genuine fear." "Good," Sean said quietly. "Fear brings respect. Respect brings real negotiation. This is how we should have been greeted from the start. As equals, not as subjects to be managed." In space, Sarah kept the pressure steady. "Commander Zelthris, Earth is making you a counteroffer. You will depart our solar system immediately. You will report to your collective that humanity is not available for protectorate status. You will inform them that any future contact must be conducted with respect for our sovereignty and recognition of our right to self-determination. In return, we will not destroy your ships. We will allow you to leave peacefully and maintain diplomatic channels for future communication under proper terms." Zelthris knew he had no choice. His mission had failed completely. Worse, he had exposed Valthene methods to a species that was clearly more dangerous than anyone had estimated. If he called for military support, the resulting conflict would be catastrophic for both sides. The collective would eventually win through sheer numbers, but the cost would be enormous. And for what? To subjugate a species that had proven itself capable of sophisticated defense and strategic deception. The political fallout alone would destabilize Valthene authority across multiple sectors. "Your terms are accepted," Zelthris said, the words bitter but necessary. "We will depart immediately. But understand this, Captain Morrison. The galaxy is not a safe place. There are threats far worse than the Valthene collective. Species that would not negotiate. Species that would see humanity as prey rather than potential subjects. You may have won today, but your isolation leaves you vulnerable." Sarah's response was measured. "We appreciate the warning, Commander. But humanity has survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and our own worst impulses. We have learned that strength must be paired with wisdom, that power must be tempered with caution. We did not build the Sentinel because we wanted war. We built it because we refused to be helpless. If worse threats exist in the galaxy, then we will face them as we have faced every challenge in our history. Together, prepared, and unwilling to surrender our freedom." The Valthene ships lifted off from the desert floor, ascending through Earth's atmosphere toward space. Zelthris watched his homeworld's coordinates appear on the navigation display. Knowing his report would change everything the collective thought they knew about humanity. On the Sentinel's bridge, Sarah watched the alien vessels depart. Her crew remained at their stations, professional and focused. There were no celebrations, no cheering. They understood that this was not a victory. It was a message. Earth had announced to the galaxy that humanity would not accept subjugation, would not bow to threats, would not surrender the stars without a fight. As the Valthene ships engaged their faster-than-light drives and vanished, Sarah allowed herself a moment of reflection. Somewhere out there were countless other species, other civilizations, other potential friends and enemies. Today, humanity had taken its first real step into that larger universe. Not as victims or supplicants, but as equals who demanded respect. Ambassador Chun received confirmation that the Valthene had left Earth's solar system. He stood in the desert facility, looking out at the empty landing site where the alien ships had rested. The sand showed scorch marks from their engines, the only evidence they had been there at all. Director Walsh's voice came through his communication device. "Well done, Ambassador. Phase 1 is complete. Now comes the harder part, building genuine relationships with species who will actually treat us as partners." Sean nodded, though she could not see him. "The galaxy knows we exist now. More importantly, they know we are not defenseless. What happens next will define humanity's place among the stars for generations to come. High above, the Sentinel returned to its position behind the moon. Captain Morrison secured the ship and began the process of standing down from combat alert. Her crew had performed flawlessly, but she knew this was only the beginning. Earth had revealed its strength, and that revelation would have consequences. Some species would respect humanity's power. Others would see it as a challenge. The future was uncertain, but one thing was absolutely clear. Humanity had earned its seat at the galactic table, and they had done it on their own terms. The age of human isolation was over, and the age of human determination had begun. Asterisk.